Hello and welcome everyone again into another video. Today's video will talk about the top teams in the Color Cup, but before that, I don't hear the music. No, never mind, the music is playing. So, Color Cup is the next cup we have in the Go Battle League, which we'll be getting this Tuesday. It's a cup that we've had only once before. I think that was in 2013, so around 2 years ago. And it's kind of a unique cup, but probably it's going to be one of the cups that makes people rage. We will get to that why it's kind of a bit toxic cup, but also it is a fun cup if you have the specific Pokemon that I will mention later in the video. So before we head into the teams and the stuff, let's talk about Color Cup. It's a great league format. Only 1500 CP Pokemons and below are eligible. Fire, water, grass, and electric type are eligible. Basically only colorful Pokemons. Isn't every type colorful? Yes. So it's basically red, blue, green, yellow. Those four main colors are like the ones that are eligible. So the types, okay, not the Pokemon. So like, oh yeah, so why Salazzle is eligible? It's not colorful. It's not water. It's the typing that is colorful. Okay, so if you take a look at PvP, number one is Toxapex. Why Toxapex? Because it's the bulkiest Pokemon in this cup. Number two, Shadow, Alolan, Marowak, followed by a Qwilfish. Why Qwilfish? Qwilfish is probably the Pokemon that can deal neutral damage to everything in this cup because you can run it with Ice Beam, Sludge, Poison Sting, Aqua Tail. You have so many options for this Pokemon. And then we have Jumpluff. Why Jumpluff? It's a tanky Pokemon. Usually PvP loves those tanky Pokemons, not just PvP. I do love those two Pokemons as well. We have Abomasnow, Gastrodon, Zapdos, Shadow. Can we run non-Shadow? If you want to run non-Shadow Zapdos, just run Emolga, to be honest, you know? It's better. It's less resources heavy. And we have Turtonator and a Charjabug. That's PvP ranking. So we divide them into different categories here as leads, swaps, and generals. Leads are Pokemons with like some sort of a fast move pressure and have a nuking potential. I think the best lead in this cup, I would say Qwilfish and Abomasnow. Why Abomasnow? Abomasnow has the potential to RPS and then snowball after. Because it's like you would expect people to run stuff like grass, stuff like flyers, Jumpluff, but it's not as safe. If you want to use a safe lead, the safest lead possible, I do believe that it is Alolan Marowak, because people will either run grass or Toxapex, and Alolan Marowak has the potential to do super effective to either. You either like burn the grass or like throw mud. No, not Mud Bomb. What's the Shadow Bone? Not Shadow Bone. Bone Club. You have a Bone Club, which does super effective to the Toxapex, and you do resist Poison Sting. So it's kind of like you both resist each other's, and each other's do super effective damage. So the one with better charge move or with better stat product will eventually win. And there is Gastrodon, which does destroy both. The problem with Gastrodon just has no play into the grass. But against everything that doesn't fly, it's just an insane Pokemon. It's arguably the best Pokemon here. It's not Toxapex. I would say it's Gastro. But Toxapex just has a better play. It has more play in the current meta. Now, something like Galvantula, I do think that Galvantula is just a bad Charjabug. I do think that Charjabug has such a great play into this cup, just because, it's just a Pokemon that's capable of throwing a neutral damage with decent stat product, but it can get RPS by something like Marowak or Gastrodon. And that's where like something like Qwilfish can actually do slightly better, because you resist the poison damage from Toxapex and you do super effective with either Mudshot or Thunder Shock. I do believe that you do need to run Thunder Shock. Something like Quagsire is extremely decent in this cup. And something like Credeli, I don't know why Fraton is here. Wait, Fraton is eligible, right? Pachirisu, remember you can use this Pokemon. The problem with Pachirisu is that it's just a very bad version of this little cute Pokemon, Morpeko. Morpeko is by far my favorite Pokemon to use in this cup, and I will actually be using it non-stop because I get a traded IV, so that's something I will be spamming. Turtonator is a decent Pokemon if you don't get RPS, but the problem with Turtonator is that Fire is not the best typing to run. Like Marowak is good because it's subtyping Ghost, which does resist the poison damage from Toxapex. While like Detonator will do the resisted, Incinerate, and take neutral damage from the poison. And then you go to Gastrodon, you also get destroyed because Mud Slap is just OP, and if you're weak to Mud Slap, you're just weak. One day I hope that they give Dragon Claw to Detonator, so Detonator will have a less RPS matchups. Something also to mention, again, if you don't have Shadow Zapdos, you can run Emolga. If you have Shadow Zapdos, you can run that. Those two Pokemons are kind of, you know, like clones of each other. One's just legendary, one is non-legendary. But I do tend to prefer Morpeko over both. And Salazzle does have a play into this current meta. Salazzle does, you know, like it's a Detonator, but but it dies much faster. But to be honest, if you have it locked into a grass, it has a better play than Detonator because you can just farm them all the way down and then just spam Poison Fang, because Salazzle does have Poison Fang while Detonator just get destroyed if you basically, like your energy, you're only capable of throwing one charge move, because both of the charge moves that Detonator has are like above 50, so you're not going to be able to stack more than one. So now we yapped about these Pokemons, and now let's talk about the top teams. What do I think is the best team? And we will talk about first, as always, the top 3 PvPoke. It's not actually accurate, it's actually top 4 PvPoke, because if you look at PvPoke ranking, number 2 and number 3 is Marowak, 1 is Shadow, 1 is non-Shadow. So this is top 4 PvPoke because number 1 is Toxapex, number 2 is Marowak, and number 3 is Qwilfish. The problem with this team is that it gets destroyed by something like Gastrodon, so this team is kind of illegal, because you're gonna see lots of Gastrodons. You cannot run those two together. So that's why I say sometimes top 3 PvPoke is actually not a team. So what would be a team, Yasser? Well, how about this? You just do Gastro in the lead, and then you have 2 Pokemons in the back that are weak to Gastro. So you safe swap Marowak because you kind of like get to the move faster, and you have the chance to chip the opposing Gastro if they have it in the back. So you can bait it out and then have your Toxapex in the back to have a free game. The team is technically not ideal into Toxapex. Sorry, it's not ideal against the Gastrodon teams, but against everything else, it's such a great team. And now moving into the next one, which I do believe is slightly better. Why is this ABB? This is literally ABC. This is a balanced team. So with this team, you are running either Zapdos or Emolga, okay? Whichever you prefer. Like, I usually would have only Zapdos, but because people are like, oh, what I do in this team instead of if I don't have Zapdos? So every time I have like a kind of like a difficult to get Pokemon, I'll just put like below it a Pokemon that people can actually have. People can something like you know, like a less resources heavy, less rare of a Pokemon to get. Obama Snow again has a decent play in the meta, because again you will face lots of Gastrodons and people will try to run grass Pokemons to beat the Gastrodons, and Obama Snow is one of very few that can beat Gastrodons and the grass, so that's why it's here. Usually with this team, you're just gonna swap Gastro, and Obama Snow is there as a counter swap, because most of the time they will swap in Gastro, and this is your Gastrodon answer. Zapdos does something better than Emolga, which is a Drill Pick. A Drill Pick is one of the best charge moves in the game. It's a cheap move. It's a 40 energy move, and you have Thunder Shock, which make it insanely fast. But that's not the team I would recommend. I myself would be running something like Univent Stunfisk. Univent Stunfisk does have a good play into something like Jumpluff, you know, because I'm expecting Jumpluff to be something good in the meta, because it's the Pokemon that does completely wall the Gastrodon, which we will expect to see everywhere, right? So my way of playing this meta, I will be running Toxapex and Univent Stunfisk. And a Pokemon that I was trying to look and find a decent core breaker is Trevenant. Why Trevenant? Trevenant is extremely underrated in this cup. So if you have one of those Trevenants, you can actually use it in this cup, because it does have a decent spot. It doesn't have a decent spot in the meta, but it does do great job as a core breaker in the meta of the Color Cup. And now moving into the next team, if you don't have a Toxapex and you would like to play this cup, I think Jumpluff with Morpeko do make a good core. The third is up to you. You could actually run double Electric. you could actually run something like Magma. The Magma has Karate Chop and Fire Punch. Both of these moves get a buff. If you have a Shadow, it's even better. You can run Mag Mortar as well. Which one of these you have. But again, this team is kind of ABB, weak to Gastrodon. As I said again, if you don't want to be weak to Gastrodon, I have this team for you, which is Superior Double Electric. I think this is by far my favorite team among all of these teams, and it's kind of an ABB team. I am not an ABB player, but I think I will be doing ABB in this cup because I do think that I do consider Zapdos and Emolga to be more like of a Flyets, because those are ground Pokemons those are electric Pokemons that can beat the ground Pokemons, because the ground Pokemons are ground watered, so technically they do a resisted Mud Slap, you do a resisted Thunder Shock, so it's going to be whoever gets to their charge moves faster, and that's where like those two Pokemons do perform very well, which is getting to the charge move fast. You can run non-shadow on Zapdos, to be honest, because you don't want to shield since you have Morpeko, and the key to win games will be to shield the Morpeko. And this here, you use it to bait out the Gastrodons, or whichever they have, like on I think Gastrodons mainly. You need to use them to bait out the Gastrodon, and you have Superior to just farm that thing down. And this team kind of is two hard counters to the Toxapex, and Superior into Toxapex is not a bad matchup. If you shield the Sludge, you actually humiliate them. If you are looking to find the biggest wall to Toxapex, that Pokemon is what's the name of this Pokemon? Togedemaru. So what does Togedemaru do that other electric don't do is Togedemaru is subtyping steel, and steel does wall poison. You double resist. So with Togedemaru, you have the potential to wall the grass and wall the poisons. You're technically weak to Marowak, so I have Marowak as an answer, and there is a Trevenant as a Shadow Claw user. I tried to not keep this video long, but I just wanted to keep keep you posted on like good Pokemons in this cup and what to run, what to not to run. So yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know about the Color Cup, and I appreciate everyone spending the time to watch this channel. So again, don't forget to like the video if you like the content, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I will catch you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, night, or whatever you're having. Peace.